Hello and welcome to the Urban GardenHER YouTube channel. My name is Alexis and I am the Urban GardenHER. So we are now in September, and you know it's September when you start to see gardeners come out in sweaters and jackets. This morning was around like the 50s, like high 50s, and I think today is supposed to get like mid to low 70s for a high. So we're starting to approach fall, and the garden senses that, as a lot of my vegetables have been cranking out, or plants have been cranking out vegetables from the summer, as this summer was a brutal one. A lot happened with, the temperatures being too hot, and my vegetables were late to start this season. And so typically around this time of year, I usually will start to have moved or start moving around some of my summer warm weather loving vegetables into containers, just to free up space for like my cool weather vegetables for the fall and winter. But they're all doing so well right now where they're at, and I just don't want to go through the hassle of moving them and then them going through transplant shock and just reestablishing their roots and everything. Like, I just want to just let them just rock until they're done. And instead of planting out my brassicas, like my collards, kale, cabbage, what else am I growing, broccoli, in these raised beds, I instead am planting them in containers right now. So that's different for me this year. I typically have the peppers in containers at this point, and I have up space, but it just I just didn't want to move everything. It's doing so well, and they deserve to kind of have a fighting chance. Sorry, it's a bird or something. Squirrel. I live by the woods. But yeah, so yeah, I wanted them to have like a fighting chance to just finish out their life cycle and finish producing. I think what I'll probably do is allow what's currently fruiting, like my peppers and my tomatoes, like let them, and tomatillos, let them finish fruiting if they already have fruited, the flower pollinated, um, and let them finish, get to mature size. And then I probably will pull up the plants. I don't know. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do, but I just know that everything right now is just happy where it's at, and I just don't want to bother it. I just, August and April are my two favorite months of the year, both A's. Because those months are usually months of transition between seasons, and vegetables are thriving, I guess, at their best, their most, at that point, because it's not too hot, not too cold. Like, everything from both seasons is thriving. So you see my summer vegetables are still thriving and producing, which I'll harvest some stuff. And then also my cooler weather vegetables, which I have already transplanted in my containers, are also thriving. So these are my favorite months, even though it is early September. I'm counting it towards August, but you get the point. So, I'll just go through what's growing, what's being harvested now, what I have started, transplanted, what I'm continuously sowing from seed, just so you all get an idea what's growing in my Washington, D.C. Zone 7B garden. So let's get started with the tour. So one thing you'll see in Grow Bag Alley, formerly known, is that it's just so full. It probably doesn't look any different from the last garden tour that I did, but it's probably, just a little bit more fuller in foliage. Like, it's so much happening in here. You can't even see the raised bed that's back there where the marigolds are behind the bench. You can't even see the raised bed. I promise you there is one up under here, but it's filled to the capacity with eggplant and marigolds and beans, peppers, and I think a random celery plant and carrots, all in this one bed, and some oregano underneath. But I just don't want to pull up any of the peppers. Like, everything is just thriving right now and producing. And so instead of, what I typically would have had my brassicas in this bed, but I had a harlequin bug infestation, so I didn't want to trigger that. So I just decided to leave all my summer loving vegetables in this raised bed, and they're all doing fairly well. Like, I have some eggplant that I need to harvest fairly soon, which I'm excited about. It's my first year growing eggplant, and I don't even know what to cook with it. Well, no, I know to cook with it, but I've never cooked with it before. So my husband's actually gonna cook with that. So, but some carrots are in here. Let's see what else is in here. Lots and lots and lots of things. Lots of things in here. It's just stuff that's buried up in there, like that's happy. I have some Scotch bonnets that are finally like these things. These would have probably been like filled with Scotch bonnets, this pepper plant, but it took a long time, and so I'm not going to move it. I'm going to let it just continue to produce my jalapeno pepper plant. I think I have what is this? A California Wonder, and I think this is probably habanero and a celery tucked away. And I have some beans on the border of this raised bed that I've been producing. I've been harvesting. This looks to be a carrot that probably will need to get um, pulled up at some point because the carrot is starting to bolt at the top, which means that it's probably ready to harvest. But yeah, this is my raised bed. What's happening? Why fix it if it ain't broken? It's not broken. It's doing very well for September, so we're gonna leave it there. California Wonder peppers, which I've been happy about how they've been producing this year. I've already harvested some earlier this weekend. We had a cookout, so we needed some peppers, and I was able to come up to the garden and get some. The beans I planted beans, as you can see probably, or maybe not, at the borders of the raised beds in these containers so that they could fall over like they're doing right now, cascade down. And then I could just go down and just, pick me a bean. And so I got a few, looks like I can harvest today. But yeah, this is literally like, when plans start to work, when plans actually do work. So I've been harvesting my beans. I've had a lot of beans actually this season. We've been freezing them for the winter time so that my family will be able to enjoy them in the winter. But yeah, we got us a nice little bean harvest, which we'll probably have some more because these are, I think, Blue Lake. They're a bush variety. I planted a lot of these around the borders of my containers and raised beds. Wow, nice little harvest. I didn't even see all these beans before, but beans literally, like, you can have like a little bean like this, as you can see here, and then like a day or two later it'll be like this size. So that's literally what happened. But I got me a nice little bean harvest, which I am going to probably freeze these, and we'll see what else is there to harvest. This planter on the deck, the patio, which has some more Blue Lake beans. I harvested a whole lot of them from this plant this season. I'm contemplating whether I want to plant some more bean seeds because beans grow pretty fast, and I have about like approximately 60 or so days left until the first frost for my zone. So, when you're looking at those frost dates, just look at how long something like with seed packets, see how long it takes for something to harvest, and just base it off of that of if you want to plant more seeds. But yeah, so like, when you're growing stuff in your garden and you're getting close to the first frost date, one thing to keep in mind is, if you're starting something from seed and it's a summer loving vegetable, just see how many days you have left until the first frost. So for example, my first frost is anticipated to be November 2nd, and I have about like 60 or so days which until that first frost. So if I want to start some more seeds, which I'll probably do some more beans, I just have to make sure I have enough time before that first frost. Like, for example, I have a client for a consultation who wants to grow more some cucumbers in her garden for some salad. And so I said, well, let me see how much time we have until the first frost and what varieties, how many days they take, what has the least number of days to do, can harvest that variety of vegetable or cucumber. And so I found a variety, a space saving cucumber variety that has about 50 or so days. And I'm like, we could try it. We could see. It's an experiment. Gardening is just an experiment. So that's what we're going to do and try. But yeah, see your first frost date. Look on the Farmer's Almanac to find out when your first frost date is. And then you can just count the number of days until that first frost date for any of your summer vegetables. But if you're planting something that's more frost hardy, then you should be fine. That frost date doesn't really impact it too much. It might slow down the production of that plant or growth, but it won't necessarily kill it. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, so we have some celery in here. I've already harvested around the celery right here. You can see it's starting to come back. Some more is growing in. I actually recently learned this from my dad, who's growing celery, that you can harvest celery over and over again and they'll keep growing in as long as you don't pull it up from the base. But you could just cut and come again, almost like you do salad or lettuce. But there's some more celery here, which I probably will have to harvest, and some others back there. But yeah, this bed has been doing fairly well and has been prolific as far as growing beans for my family. My green stalk tower, I don't know, it's been like interesting because we had rain recently, but it just seems like the soil's kind of drying out, which I'm not sure why. But it's still producing, like you said, some more beans here. I'm trying to figure out what to do with this here green stalk tower because I do have a lot of beans that are growing and producing, but also some that probably need to get pulled up. But I don't know, like I might put some more beans here, or a random fennel plant that probably needs to get relocated somewhere else. Some peppers. My peppers didn't really do too well in my green stalk tower. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like the peppers didn't produce like I wanted them to. Like I think this was a sriracha pepper and a cayenne. And last year I had them in my containers like over there, and they were big. They were like had so many peppers on them. But this year in this green stalk tower, they didn't really do too well. I don't know. Maybe I did something wrong. I watered them. I thought I did, but my chard, it's producing, but it's not as big as I would like for it to be. I put some herbs in here as well, some lemon balm, strawberries are in there. But yeah, my green stalk tower. I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna plant some more brassica because I started with some kale here and also some lettuce, romaine lettuce, but those are doing okay. Some basil, just random stuff that didn't have a home that I put in here. This green stalk planter. But yeah, we'll see. I'm thinking probably, at least I'll pull up the summer vegetables and put down like some spinach and nothing big like cabbage. I don't know. I mean, they say you can grow stuff like cabbage in here, but I need a space for other things. I'll put the cabbage somewhere else where it can get nice and big. My, what is this? My apple tree, my little apple tree that I ordered around Earth Day, which is self-pollinating, is semi-dwarf, is, not producing any apples. I don't think that apples are produced. Like, I think it takes a few years probably for them to start producing on a tree, but it's here and companion planted with my snapdragons and my lavender, which am learning that snapdragons are kind of perennial to my zone. We'll see if these are a new variety that I have, but I love snapdragons. They're a beautiful flower, and they come back every year. At least in my garden, they do. So I'm excited about that. I'm hoping that this lavender stays and comes back. Like last year, my other lavender. This is another lavender that I got from a nursery that I believe is more perennial to my zone. Sometimes going to nurseries is better than going to like buying stuff from Home Depot and Lowe's because those varieties aren't always perennial to your zones. So it smells so good. Ooh, it smells so good. But I hope this comes back. It hasn't flowered yet. It'll probably flower next year because I planted this late in the season, but we'll see. This wall planter has been doing okay. Like, I think it's just dry. The soil just dries really fast, and I have to kind of be intentional about watering it. But I have some mint that I had transplanted recently. I guess the older leaves died, but at least there's some new growth that's coming in, which I'm happy about. My lemon balm, which I needed to produce more because I love drinking lemon balm tea along with some marigolds and some strawberries here. But I think that this planter, I don't know, it's okay. Like, I think that it just dries out quickly. That's the thing about these like wall planters and just containers. You have to make sure that they're watered frequently so they don't dry out. So yeah, I call this like my medicinal, I guess now medicinal. I had corn growing here before, but my medicinal plants, as I have quite a few that I relocated from my raised beds because I needed them to produce more or get more sun or just get out of the way of some other plants I was trying to grow in the raised beds. But I have here some lemongrass, which is doing all right. You know, maybe needs a little more time to establish its roots, but my calendula, I just had a challenge in relocating this. Um, but luckily there is, you know, some green leaves that are there, so and some roots. So I guess that it's, you know, partially alive. Whereas the rest of it died. And this is exactly why I don't want to relocate any of my other plants, my pepper plants, because of transplant shock and just, you know, them not doing well after I relocate them into containers. But what did do all right was my eucalyptus, thankfully, which I relocated to this grow bag here. And then I also, this is supposed to be a Concord grape. I'm going to need to find a home for that. And then also my elderberry plant, tree, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's here and it hasn't fruited yet. But I'm hoping that one year it does so that I can have some elderberries to make my own elderberry syrup. My melon cantaloupe raised bed, which probably will get moved or I guess harvested and pulled up soon because the leaves are just looking real sad as of recent. I'm not sure if it's not enough water. Like, it's been getting quite a bit of water. You could tell by looking down at it. It's you know saturated with water, but I don't know. It's ready. The leaves are wilting and it's just falling apart. I did have some squash bugs on here, so I don't know if it's that attacking it or what. But I do have some cantaloupe that's in here. It's small, but it's there. And I have some more cantaloupe that's in there. I was hoping to get more cantaloupe this year because I had moved my cucumbers that I used to grow over here. But you're not supposed to grow cucumbers and melons next to each other because they can cross pollinate and then affect the taste of each other. So yeah. But what I do have here also that's growing is ginger. And maybe, I don't know, I companion planted, well, I tried to, and I don't know if that's affecting the cantaloupe, but sorry, the leaves are in the way. But you can see here I have ginger that's growing and very well. Like, this started late. Ginger takes a very long time to grow. It actually grows in tropical climates, and this is not a tropical climate, but it's growing, it's taking off, and I think it's going to be quite a bit of ginger that I'm going to be able to harvest because I see some, if you look closer, there's some more ginger that's sprouting down there. I only have two plants or two rhizomes down there, but I think I'm going to have quite a bit of ginger to harvest this year, y'all, and I'm very excited about that. I love ginger. So we shall see what happens in this raised bed, but I'm probably going to pull this up. Ginger, I'm probably not going to be able to harvest that until close to November, maybe. Definitely by the first frost. Um, but we'll see. With this is going to get pulled up way long before that, and I'm going to probably put something else in its place. Not sure yet, though, what it's going to be. This has probably been my most productive raised bed with the okra plants. Like, look how tall they've gotten. I am growing okra, a few different varieties, some zinnias, poblano peppers that you can see close up. See, they're fruiting. Like, I don't want to pull this plant up because it's fruiting. Has all those peppers that are coming in. I'm going to let those get to size and then I'll probably eventually pull this up. But yeah, this plant has been the most productive. I learned my lesson from, past mistakes that I should probably only plant like one or two or maybe three zinnia flowers. Don't plant a lot because you see how big they can get. This is just one plant. And then that's one plant back there. And then another plant over there. And they're huge. They produce a lot of flowers, and that's all you need. But those help facilitate the pollination between the flowers from bring the pollinators, attract the pollinators to pollinate my okra. So that's exactly what they're doing. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. I'm excited about that. I have quite a few varieties. I think this is like a Clemson spineless variety of okra. This is supposed to be Alabama red, which you can see there. Another Clemson spineless, which is doing something weird up there, and then like red burgundy as well. I think I got like a few other of the same, but yeah. Um, I also have my Tabasco peppers that are down there. They have been very, very productive this season, and we've made some hot sauce, and also I got some oregano that I had transplanted from another bed, and then I have this. I guess I don't even know what beans I planted, y'all. Like I planted these beans back in May, and like the heat happened, and so I thought that nothing was taking off and everything died, but it started to grow, and I don't remember what beans these are. I cannot recall. I think they're like a shelling, like a dry bean. Like I wanted to have some black eyed peas and was it lima beans that pole variety growing up this, but I don't remember what it is. So we're just gonna have to like wait and see. It doesn't look like it's like a regular green bean. It looks like it's something that I need to like shell, like peas are inside. I don't know, y'all, but we'll see. But it's doing well. It finally took off, and it's growing behind all this other tall stuff that's in the front, which I'm very surprised by. That's not really competing, but it's doing fairly well. Here, have another random okra tucked in there, but my nasturtiums, which I actually want to do something with these. Like nasturtiums are have a lot of medicinal benefits as well. I can't remember what, but nasturtiums, they create these beautiful flowers and these beautiful leaves, and you can eat these. You can actually eat these and the flowers, but they are used as like a trap plant to trap pests in them, and they have taken over. I actually they were starting to die around the heat, and then like they just continue to take over, so I just left them there. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that, but I also have a squash here, a butternut or honey nut squash plant that's supposed to be vining up this trellis. And then I also have another squash over here. Looks like it's starting to vine somewhere else. But yeah, this is butternut squash that is growing. I saw one butternut that was on there that was, I thought it was pollinated, but it fell off. So I don't know. But what I am super excited about too are these purple top turnips. Oop! And look at what we found here, a caterpillar. Yeah, make sure you check your vegetables. This is the downside of growing brassicas in the warm weather is pests, but we're gonna get that. But you can see they're already starting to bulb down there. Like all of these are, well, not that one, but some of these are starting to bulb underneath, which I am pleased by. But we're gonna have some turnip greens and purple top turnips. I relocated these snapdragons here as well. And I have what I know they are is purple whole peas that are growing here in this raised bed, which haven't been that productive. So I don't even know. Like this has been my second year trying to grow purple whole peas, and they're just not as productive as I would like for them to be. Not enough to where I can like harvest some peas and we can eat from them. And the bed that really surprised me is this tomato bed, because I started these tomatoes like springtime, and the heat came. These are Better Boy variety, and the heat came and just stalled. This plant stalled. It had some disease or pest infestation. I don't know what it was, but it was going through a lot, y'all. And look at how many tomatoes, like it came back after we had some rain, it just started producing again. And look at how many tomatoes are coming in, like lots of tomatoes, which I'm so happy about. I just recently pruned them to allow the plant to concentrate energy on producing the tomatoes themselves and the fruit. um, I'm so excited, super excited. More tomatoes because we get to make some tomato sauce and all other things that we didn't get to do. And I didn't start getting tomatoes until August. Like, I know, super late, right? But it was a rough summer and we finally got them. But yeah, here goes my red raspberry bush, which has been super, super busy. I haven't had any berries that have been growing from it, but lots of foliage, lots of leaves, which I've actually been um, pruning the leaves for to make some red raspberry leaf tea. And I think that it's probably going to be like next year when I'll probably be able to get some red raspberries growing from them. But it's been a super, super productive plant as far as like producing a lot of foliage, which I have been thankful for. Another plant I've been thankful for is my cucumbers. Like, I have been blessed to have quite a bit of cucumbers that have been harvested. As you can see, lots of fruits, vegetables coming from this one plant or couple plants that are growing here. I actually transplanted some more cucumbers below recent, like in the last month or so, so that as the older plant dies, these will still be producing. Like I said before, look at your frost date to see when, how long it'll take for stuff to be able to produce and harvest before that frost date. So I looked at the frost date and I was like, I had plenty of time for, some other cucumbers to be able to produce before the first frost. So that's what's happening here. It's probably about 4 plants that are in this one little spot down here. And finally, my cherry tomatoes. These are like a orange globe orange. I don't even know, but they're an orange variety that's producing a lot. You see all those cherry tomatoes? They're all coming in. Finally, finally, finally. Just mixing here with my tomatillos, which you can't tell the difference in which plant is which, but the tomatillos are here, and that plant actually has had a lot of tomatillos, 2 plants that I've harvested tomatillos from this year. And this is my first year growing tomatillos, and I actually learned that in order for them to produce, you have to plant like at least two plants next to each other so they can cross pollinate. And that's exactly what they're doing. And I don't know if you can see, you can tell when they're ready to harvest. That's not ready, but it'll like have a hard, like the outer husk will be tan looking, but you'll feel like the actual fruit inside of it. um I don't see any more that's ready to harvest, but I think this is going to be the first vegetable or plant that I pull up for fall, because it's not producing any more tomatillos. I don't even know if the tomatillos that are currently here are still going to be um, ripening or not, but they're here. Um, I'm just gonna let them finish out if they are going to. Like, this one here is ready to harvest. So you can see, if you open it, what it looks like on the inside. See, that's how you know it's ready to harvest. Like, the outer shell will be like, tan and dry looking, and then you'll see the fruit inside of it. But yeah, I'm gonna pull this plant up probably in the next couple weeks once all of these other tomatillos finish um, growing to maturity. Last but not least, my containers, which I keep referring to, my brassica containers that have my collard greens that are here. Got a random red cabbage that's right there, some mustard greens. These are all doing fairly well, and they're all companion planted with some herbs in there like dill and cilantro and basil, which I'm probably going to pull up the basil because that's competing with the other plants. But everything up there alongside my deck, these are all brassicas, like my collard greens. Like, these are doing well. So I don't know, it's just like they're doing well right here. The pests are controlled because they got the herbs, and they're not affected by the harlequin bug, which is down in my other raised bed. So why would I relocate these? I don't know. We're gonna see how they do, how big they get. I mean, eventually they'll probably have to get transplant it into a bigger space. But for now, they're going to be in these containers because they're doing well in them. So much happening in my fall garden right now. No, I'm not claiming it yet, but it does feel like fall though. But my September garden, so much is happening, as you can see. And we're like in this weird transition period where everything is doing well, no matter what season it grows in. And so I'm just gonna let things rock out, like I like to say, rock out for a little bit, that, have been growing here since the summer, until they're ready to be pulled up. But, I'm probably gonna plant some more, some bean seeds, some carrots. I started some in one of the raised beds, but I think I probably will need to like cover them because it had been too hot. But now the temperature is dropping, so who knows? But I'm probably gonna plant some more carrot seeds, find some places to put some beets, some green onions. And of course, when we get around like October or so, I'm going to be planting some garlic. So I got to find some space for that as well. I'm most likely going to put it back here, but we'll see how everything is looking by that point. So I hope you all enjoyed the tour, and please be sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I hope you all are inspired, empowered to start growing in whatever space that you live in. So happy gardening.